Okay, so first one, we are verifying. So this is not simplifying, this is verifying. I know where I need to get to. Yes? So we have the sine of pi over 2 plus theta equals the cosine of theta. Now, when you see this on Friday, you have to know where you're going to go. Are you going sum or are you going difference? What does it say in the middle? Sum. Okay? Then you have to know your alpha and beta. So this is your alpha. That's my beta, my first and second. Okay? What does your sum formula tell you? It says the sine of alpha plus beta equals the sine of alpha, which is pi over 2, times the cosine of beta, which is theta, plus the cosine of alpha times the sine of beta. All I did is I used my sum formula. Yes? Are we okay with that? Yeah? Okay. Now, one thing I'm recognizing on your speed quizzes, kiddos, is you guys are messing up your quadrantals. You're messing up your zeros, your pi over 2s, your pi's, your 3 pi over 2s, and your 2 pi's. Now, here's how I memorize them. Does anybody know or remember what the cheat for sine is? When we graph sine, I had you write 5 things down. 0, max, 0, min, 0, right? Does that sound familiar? Those 5 values are your quads. 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. So, if I want the sine of pi over 2, I go 0, max, right? Does everybody understand where I'm coming from? But what has to be my maximum value? What was the highest my normal graph ever got to? What? Yeah, just 1. Your maximum is always 1, and your minimum is always -1. Use your cheats to help you. Okay? So what's the sine of pi over 2? 0 max. What's the sine of pi over 2? Sine of pi over 2 is 1. So I know this is 1. Do I know what the cosine of theta is? Do I know what the cosine of theta is? Nope. So I'm going to write it as a cosine of theta. Plus cosine of pi over 2. What was my cheat for cosine? Max, 0, min, 0, max, right? So cosine of pi over 2. Max, 0. So this is 0 times the sine of theta. Well, what happens with these two terms? That's 0, so they go away, right? What's 1 times cosine of theta? Cosine of theta, are we done? You are done. Try number 2. Except you're going to use the sum formula for which one now? Cosine, do it to it, please. I'm not.
I left my baby.
Oh, I don't know if I have any more. Here, I'll pull one up for you. Go. Go, 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 go. Hold on. You just want the formulas, right?
Yeah.
Bless you. Let's get this going. Did we all get it? Use your sum formula for cosine, yes? Yes? Talk to me. Come on. Because tomorrow and Wednesday are short days, so I'm not going to be teaching a lot. It's going to be a lot of practice. Cosine of pi, max 0, min, that's -1. Cosine of theta comes down, minus the sine of pi, 0 max 0. 0 times sine goes away.
Wait, did you distribute it?
Did I distribute what, sweet thing?
The cosine.
No, this second row.
Yeah.
No, that's using the sum formula for cosine. Cosine A, cosine B minus sine A, sine B. I know cosine of pi is -1. And I know sine of pi is 0. That's on your chart. Okay? Are we good with those two? All right. 3. Now, remember, once we get to 3 and 4, you're going to have to know what side you want to work down. Can you do a lot with 2 sine cosine? The answer to that is no, because do I have any identities? No. Do I have any reciprocals? No. Do I have p-theg? No. Can I do something with sine of 2x? Now, if I say sine of 2x, how do I get 2x? How could I break that apart? What? You can't divide by 2 because it's inside your function. What? So would you agree that the sine of 2x is the same as the sine of x plus x? Is that true? Maybe. Is that true? Yeah? Now can I use the sum formula for sine? Can I? So it says, what does the sum formula for sine say? It says sine of A, so this is going to be the sine of x, times the cosine of B, which in our case is x, plus, I'm reading it right off that paper. You guys have to read it right off that paper. You can't require me. I can't do it for you. Cosine of x, sine of x. Are these like terms? Are they the same? Does it matter that it says sine, cosine, or cosine, sine? No, it's exactly the same. So I have 2 sine of x, cosine of x. That one's done. Okay? These are your double angle formulas. They're going to come back next week. You'll need them. 4.
Wait, I thought there was 2 cosines.
Huh? What do you mean?
Okay, you know how
No.
you know there's 2 cosines, right? Right. Cosine plus cosine of x, and then you have sine of x.
But hold on. This is one term. And this is one term. You can't separate them.
So where'd you get the 2 from?
This is the same. Sine of x cosine of x is the same as sine of x times cosine of x. They're exactly the same. It doesn't matter the order when you multiply. Side 4, or number 4, which side we're going to start down? I would say if there's a double angle, if there's anything, you're going to start down left. So how am I going to write cosine of 2x? Cosine of x plus x. Okay, it's a good start. After you write down that, where are you going to go? Sum or difference formula. Which one? Sum or difference? Sum. So this is the sum formula for cosine says what? Agree or disagree? Yeah? Okay. We have cosine of x times the cosine of x. If I asked you, what's x times x? What's that the same as? X squared, right? So what's the cosine of x times the cosine of x the same as? Cosine squared. So this is the cosine squared of x minus sine squared of x. But what do I have on the left side that I need to get rid of? I need to get rid of sine squared, right? Okay, so now you go back to your verifying rules. Can you factor? Can you use an identity? Can you use an identity? Can you use an identity? What identity can you use? You can use a p-theg. Am I replacing cosine or am I replacing sine? Sine. So I'm going to have cosine squared of x minus. Well, sine squared of x can be written as what? That's 1 minus cosine squared. What would I suggest you do from here? Simple algebra. This is an algebra step. Distribute the negative. So I have cosine squared of x minus 1 plus cosine squared of x. Agree or disagree? Yeah? Does anybody notice anything? What are like terms? How many do I have? You have 2, right? So I have 2 cosine squared of x minus 1. Is that what I want? That is. You guys just derived your double angle formula for, there's double angle for sine. There's one of them for cosine. Here's another one. All right, I would like you to try number 6 for me, please. Try number 6 for me, please. Pretty, please. Do we all get it? Do we all get it? I would say the front side is definitely a little bit easier than the back side. Just using the formula, right? These aren't bad, right? When you can just plug it in, they're not bad.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I did that part.
You did this part?
Yes.
Okay.
Where, like the pi over 4.
So that's off of your chart. So you go to the tangent of pi over 4, which is 1. That's you plug it in. And then you would do 1 times tangent of x, which is how I got 1 minus tangent. Now, if you tend to write a tad bit bigger on the back side, you're not going to want to write too big because there's definitely some steps that have to be made. Like here's my work for the front side. Here's my work for the back side. Yes, ma'am.
So we didn't do 5.
No.
They just equal each other.
Yep.
How would you do that?
You would just write equals cosecant of theta.
I don't really understand this one.
Okay, are you good here?
Yeah.
You just plug it in. Now, tangent of x you can't find, right? So we have no idea what x is. Do you know the tangent of pi over 4? That is.
Yeah. No, minus.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as soon as you're using angles, use your chart. Use your chart. Okay? All right, here we go. Let's go to the back and let's start on 7. I'll try not to write too big. 7. What side would you like to work down? Clearly the left side. Yes? Because what are you going to do on the right side? All you're going to do is change the sine over cosine, and then you're going to be like, bleh. Okay? What am I going to do on the left side first? Yeah. You're going to separate the alphas, right? So I'm going to write this as 1 minus, I'm going to do this over a little bit, sorry guys. 1 minus the cosine of alpha plus alpha divided by the sine of alpha plus alpha. Everybody okay with me there? Until you know your double angles, this is what you need to do. Okay? So all this week, this is what you need to do. From here, what are you going to do? You're going to go to your identity and you're going to use it, right? So I'm going to have 1 minus. Well, cosine of alpha plus alpha. Why am I going to put that in parentheses? Don't forget about that negative. So this is the same as the cosine of alpha minus sine of alpha, sine of alpha. That's literally straight from your paper. Cosine A, cosine B, minus sine A, sine B. Is everybody okay with me there? Now, what am I going to do on the denominator? Same thing but sine, right? So you're going to have sine alpha, cosine alpha, plus sine alpha, cosine alpha. Agree? Disagree? Okay. What do you recognize next? Yeah. The top ones are squared because it's cosine and cosine. You're multiplying them. So this is going to be 1 minus cosine squared of alpha minus sine squared of alpha divided by, now can I go ahead and combine these? Are those exactly the same? They are, right? So this is the same as 2 sine of alpha cosine of alpha. Now you're really starting to get into the algebra piece of this and not so much the trig. What's bothering you that's there that you don't want there? Those parentheses, right? Do we want parentheses over here at all? No. So can we just get rid of them? How do I get rid of them? Well, how do I take them away? I got to distribute the -1, right? I got to distribute the negative. So I have 1 minus cosine squared of alpha plus sine squared of alpha divided by 2 sine of alpha cosine of alpha. Now, hopefully you guys remember from like the last couple weeks. Remember I said, should you always keep a lookout on what you want? We always should keep a lookout on what we want, right? What do we want? We want tangent. Oh, shoot, that takes 0. So we want tangent. How's tangent? What is tangent defined as? Sine over cosine, right? Okay, so look in the numerator. What's there that I don't want there anymore? And what else?
The square.
Well, no, let's think. Tangent, by definition, is defined as what divided by what? Sine over cosine. So there's no 1 and there's no cosine, right? So I need that to go away somehow, correct? But I probably want to keep the sine squared because I need sine on the top anyway. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is where you have to kind of start pulling everything that we've gotten. I need this to go away, correct? And I need to somehow get it to something that I want. Can I change 1 minus cosine squared into something? Why can I change it to sine squared? It's my p-tag identity, right? It says sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. I can just maneuver. So this is now sine squared of alpha plus sine squared of alpha over 2 sine of alpha cosine of alpha. That is the last piece of trig you will do on this problem. What am I going to do next? Combine them, right? How many do I have on the top? 2. So I have 2 sine squared divided by 2 sine of alpha cosine of alpha. I ran out of room. I wrote too big. Talk to me. The 2's cancel, right? Because I don't want them anymore. Agree? Anything else? Remember, what do we want on top? Sine over cosine. So I need a sine and a sine to go away. Well, can I do that? Yeah, because this is squared and this is a 1. So this is now sine of alpha divided by the cosine of alpha, which by, in fact, is tangent. Yeah? Okay. 8. 8. What side would you like to work down on 8? I would say the right. But what do we have? We have a cosine of 3 theta. Before I've always had 2, right? But I have 3. How do I get to 3? I'm having 3 of them. But on my formula, can I do the cosine of theta plus theta plus theta? Do I have a triple in my formula? No, I just have 2 angles, right? Well, what 2 angles could get me to 3 theta? What 2 numbers add to 3? 2 and 1. So can I write the cosine of 3 theta as this? Is that the same? Agree or disagree? Okay. Maybe. Divided by sine cosine. Sorry, this is so bad. Okay. What would you like me to do from here? Well, I'm going to use my formula, but I'm going to use my sum formula. So I'm going to have the cosine of 2 theta, cosine theta, minus sine of 2 theta, sine of theta, divided by sine theta times cosine. No, they're the same. I just have a little bump on my paper. Sorry. No trig on this step. Strictly algebra. How many fractions do I currently have? 1. How many do I probably want? Because I'm starting here, correct? I had 1 fraction. I want to turn it into what? 2. Can I take this fraction and split it into 2? How do I split a fraction? Just keep the numerator with the denominator and the numerator with the denominator. So this is the same as the cosine of 2 theta times the cosine of theta divided by the sine theta, cosine theta, minus the sine of 2 theta, sine of theta, divided by sine theta, cosine theta. Follows me? Yeah? Okay. Look at what you're writing down. Don't just copy it. Look at what you're writing down. Always look to simplify if you can. What'd you just do? Huh. Okay, that's not what I wanted you to say. Courtney, do you see something? This is all multiplication, right? This is all multiplication. Can you cancel over multiplication? Do you have a cosine theta on top? Do you have a cosine theta on bottom? What happens? They cancel. That's what I thought you were doing. That's not what you're doing. Look at your second fraction. The signs can cancel. Now, we probably want them to cancel because do we know what to do when I have two angles like that? No. Now, we have cosine of 2 theta over sine minus sine of 2 theta over cosine. Well, cosine 2 theta can be written as cosine theta minus sine theta. Does everybody know how I got that? So I took this and made it into theta plus theta. Yes? And then I just use the formula. Divided by the sine. Minus, well, the sine of 2 theta. That is sine theta cosine theta plus cosine theta sine theta. What do your mathematical minds want me to do now? Yeah. Nope, I wouldn't split it yet. If you go common denominator, you're coming right back up here. Okay, so these are like terms, right? Does everybody agree that these are like terms? So how many of these do we have? 2. Can I rewrite this somehow? As what? Yeah, cosine squared minus sine squared, right? So I can have cosine squared of theta minus sine squared of theta over sine of theta minus 2 sine of theta cosine of theta divided by cosine of theta. Don't look at me. You guys got to look at your paper and recognize what to do. Yeah, what am I going to cancel? Can't do the sign here because it's attached to a subtraction sign. Can I do the cosine over here, though? Yeah. Now, here's where you have to, like, really focus on what am I trying to get to. I'm trying to get to cosecant minus 4 sine. Yes? Cosecant is the reciprocal of what function? Sine. So I want just sines. What do I still have? Cosine. How can I change that cosine and make it a sine? What? What do you mean take out a 1? Don't make it a 1. Josie. 1 minus sine squared. We want to get rid of cosine, right? So I can change this to 1 minus sine squared minus sine squared. Yes? Is everybody following me there? Divided by sine minus 2 sine of theta. You're like so close. What do you have to do right now? Can't combine them yet. We have to do something before we combine them. You have to get a common denominator, right? My common denominator is going to be what? Sine. So I'm going to have 1 minus sine squared minus sine squared. Now, what do I have to multiply this 2 sine of theta by? Sine of theta, right? So minus 2 sine squared. Do you have any like terms? How many sine squares do I have? What?
3.
Try again.
3.
4. -1, -1, -2. -1 minus 1 is -2. -2 is -4. So you have 1 minus 4 sine squared of theta over sine of theta. Now you split it. So you have 1 over the sine minus 4 sine squared over sine. 1 over sine is cosecant. How do I get just minus 4 sine? You have a squared and a sine that cancel. Don't worry about 9 because 9's real rough. I won't make you do 9. I want you to try 10 though. Try 10 right now. Try 10. It should take you 4 steps and that's it. What? Go quickly. Should take you 4 steps. Tomorrow, Tuesday, tomorrow and Wednesday. Yep, sorry, sweet thing. I thought you were done. That's my bad. Is that enough? I'll see how long he takes. Just use those formulas. Use the sum and difference formulas for sine and cosine. It's all going to start coming together as soon as you use those formulas. There should be some serious work on your paper. This is the only way you'd have to do it and get it correct. So if I don't see all of this work, I would not give you full credit on Friday. And I don't know if I believe everybody has this written down. Now, your homework is on the bottom